Welcome to Power, Season 5, Episode number 10, When It's Over. The very last episode of the season, which was an hour and 15 minutes long. And here we go. It starts off showing everybody broken up over this whole season, all the things of the season playing out. You see Tommy back on the wagon, get back on the coke. He's dealing with the fact Teresi, who he loved, just meeting his father, he had to be the one to kill him. Then you see Tasha's finally getting around to throwing away Raina's clothing. You see Ghost trying to figure out where Angie is. And she's being interrogated, and they're giving her 24 hours to turn in Ghost and make a deal for herself. This is a key scene because this is when Keisha's Lala's character, this has been the biggest role she's ever had so far on Power. And she's never seen Tommy like this. Tommy's just off the walls, messed up, and can't recover. She's finally getting to see who Tommy is when he's completely screwed up and at his worst. Tommy finds out about Teresi. He's telling Ghost, and Ghost is acting like it's news to him, as they're all going to meet Angie, as they've called this emergency meeting. So she tells them she's under investigation. She's helping them, and they're all on both sides of the team. It's like two sides of a football team or a basketball team going over their strategy. Angela's going over her strategy with the rest of the team because if she takes them down, they all going down. There's no real escape for anybody here because her life is over no matter what. And then Angie and Tasha and the rest of them, they're all linked into this Rico, but they have no evidence on any of these characters. This is what makes this so weak, is that they have nothing. You can't blame someone for a murder. You have no evidence to pin a murder on, even if she said he did it. They have no evidence to pin it on Tommy or Ghost. This is a murder that happened inside of a federal penitentiary. As Saxe is 100% pushing this and doing his investigation, and everybody hates Saxe, but Saxe is a cop. Saxe is the only one who hasn't been corrupted, who is following his thing in law as far as being a hard-nosed cop investigator. He's the only one that has been resembling what a cop is out there on the streets, just handling the Department of Justice. Even though they have no proof of any of this, like none of this would even stick in the real world. This is like such a joke that they even trying to make it like there's a case and they could be taken down. They have nothing, no evidence. And they go after a man who you publicly tried to blame for murdering a police officer and found out that guy was murdered by another police officer. Come on. Dre, in the meantime, he's getting surprised as the Jimenez has put a hit out on Dre. And now nothing is safe. So he knows the time for him to go into the witness protection program is speeding up into the fact where it is now here. Alicia is locked up behind bars. This is not good for everybody involved. Mock puts pressure on Rashad to try to pull his support from Ghost because they're doing an investigation and where he might be linked with Thomas Egan in the investigation, so it might pull him down too. So Rashad is going to, kind of keep his distance. And one of the most ridiculous scenes of the episode is when Tasha basically has Keisha back in her grasp and good graces. She messes it up by asking some of the dumbest things in the world. So you're not going to say anything, right? It's like, what? Why would you even say that? Now you're going to put her right back to where this whole thing that you did to bring her back into the spider web, you're going to ask her something to just push her right back out. So obviously this scene was very retarded and dumb, not very well written at all. Angie comes up with one last plan that she has Andre come in and say that Angela ordered the hit on Lobos in prison, and they end up killing Sandoval as well. Those two murders in the prison was on Angela, and he testifies to that. That Jimenez ordered the hits, then she can get him into the WITSAC right away. He agrees. Terry Silver comes back in a very unspirited way, and it was just basically a waste of character just having him in here. He was just a mere distractional piece in this whole episode, which was just filled with a bunch of unnecessariness. That I'm like, this is just tying up a bunch of ends that didn't make sense to begin with. Terry Silver's character in here was just another distraction who turned out to be nothing in the end. He comes back for basically no reason, but he's like, I can try to save you, Tasha, and get you out because I love you and we could be together. And what world was that going to happen? Really? What world was that ever going to happen? She's going to lock up the father of her kids to run with you, the lawyer, who just ran out on her without word. But you're going to come back now. No. Zach's out hitting the streets. He's causing disruption. He tells Lala that Ghost killed Teresi and everything else. So now she knows that Tommy's father is dead. So she's going to run over there to tell Tommy all this stuff that the cops then told her. And Proctor, one of his hate vendetta against Angie, comes right in and tries to convince Ghost that they're going to have somebody testify against him. Angie's going to betray him. Just a matter of time. Just only trust me. Paz. See, Paz is in the game now. Her sister has been giving her the other side, the family side of the story. You know, the family's history and how she needs to be there for the family. So she's having some reason to testify now because Paz, her sister, like, look, you got to think about you. We ain't got time to be worried about no Jamie. This was my favorite scene of the entire episode. When he has this conversation with Rashad, when Rashad he was shook by the DOJ. He needed reinsurance. And this is what Ghost, the character Ghost that we love. He can manipulate in any way to get you to do what he wants you to do. This was vintage Ghost. And this is the first time I've seen vintage Ghost in the entire season. He makes Rashad feel empowered to go out there and do what he needed to get done. And this is a classic scene. And he goes and announces his candidacy for governor. And they break ground on the Queensberry project that they've been working on. Then the girl from the very first episode of season 1 pops up again as she remembers Ghost only from hearing his voice with her head in the bag. She's going in talking about testifying against him, but how in the world could she even... This is the most unplausible piece of... You gotta be kidding me if I've ever seen in my life. Her testimony would be thrown out immediately. Did you see anything? No, I heard something. So you, out of all the people, millions of people in this city, you say this man's voice is the one voice you heard. Then you heard all these other noises. How can we believe you? Guy you never met a day in your life, but you can recognize his voice all of a sudden. Now that he's a popular figure. No way. Proctor tells Ghost that Terry Silver is back in town, and Angie knew about it and didn't tell him. Ghost don't trust that she's keeping with the plan, and he's like, I don't know, I can't trust Tasha right now because she ain't thinking straight. Tommy explains to Keisha who he is, and he needs to know that she's gonna be all right or she's on the level. Tommy was checking to make sure she said the wrong thing. Keisha brains would have been all over that wall. But she was not. She said the right things. Ghost shows up to see Tasha and Terry Silver making out in the parking lot. Now Ghost don't trust a word Tasha is saying as Tasha thinks she's working Terry Silver. Andre's homeboy tells Tommy to drop on how that he was going to lose his connect and put all the pieces of the puzzle together about his connect and how they were planning to take out Jason. Trey shows up to an ambush where Tommy and everybody that used to be in his crew are now shooting at him for snitching. And now Tommy's got a control of the crew again, as now he's got the weight going and everything's back flowing the way it used to. So they show up to save Dre's life right in the nick of time, making sure he signed, saying it was the Jimenez that did the hit. So he had no choice but to sign and agree to do it, or they were going to throw them back outside. It was his choice. So he had no choice. He cannot flip now and say Tommy and Ghost did it as that he was going to do and cross Angie and everybody else. Now he can't. Mox had enough of this case. He's going to D.C. This is too much of an investigation. It's taking a toll on him. He just can't do it no more. He's like, look, I'm out. I'm done. Sax shows up at Tommy's house, tells him that Ghost is the one that did the hit on Teresi, plays him a tape of Teresi's not testifying against Tommy, but actually was on Ghost. And he ends up finding out about the pictures from Angie. This was a key moment in Tommy's life as he finds out that Keisha is really down for him 100%, no matter what. She's down. He was able to take the ring off of his neck from that girl he was with and toss it to the side. Now he's completely ditched the Holly ring. Tommy and Tasha go there to interrogate her because they thinking they're breaking team when she's really not. Terry Silver didn't show up. That wasn't her plan. And she finds out about the hit. She thinks Angie set it up, which they're in the clear right now. Until Angie finds out from her lawyer that they got a witness and that could tie everybody together, which is the weakest witness in history, which makes this a joke, but here we are. Proctor tells Ghost is a female witness, and guess who he thinks it is? We learn that Ghost killed Terry Silver as he meets with Angie to discuss what happens, and Tommy trying to kill Ghost end up hitting Angie